there. From that to another environmental issue that really bothers on all of us. As the country struggles to deal with illegal mining, the New Patriotic Party is promising to streamline the activities of small-scale miners. As one of the measures, the Dr Bawumia-led MPP government will implement should they succeed in breaking the 8 in the December polls. The flag bearer of the party for the 2024 elections, Dr Bawumia, has outlined that as part of what they term, quote, very cogent policies to address the needs of stakeholders, unquote. This is coming on the back of the 3-region tour, the flag bearing backed to the western, north, and eastern regions. Illegal mining is still an important issue due to the devastating impact the practice has had on the environment, and Dr Bawumia is promising to deal with that for the long-term benefit. Let's share with you how Dr Bawumia is pledging to deal with the menace. He says, quote, we will license all miners doing responsible mining. District mining committees, including chiefs, will provide initial temporary licenses to miners. He again says that, aside this, they shall fully involve the traditional authorities in the licensing of small-scale miners. Does it sound like something you've heard before? Well, we'll deal with it. Now, as long as miners mine within the limits of their licenses, example, no mining in river or water bodies, there will no longer be any seizure or burning of excavators. So they've been given a caveat here. We would only ban your equipment if you mine in a river or water body. So there it is. Every Ghanaian in small-scale mining will register under the Ghana Small-Scale Miners Association with their Ghana card. Okay. Now they go on to say that further deepening the decentralization of the Minerals Commission as well as the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and ensure that they are present in all mining districts. This is something that they said they would do. And I think that the EPA and MINCOM have actually moved on to ensure that this is done. But they say they will deepen that. Now, they say, quote, we will ensure, we will, in collaboration with the large-scale mining companies, convert abandoned shafts into community mining scheme. So more community mining schemes to be rolled out to them. They again say, we shall open more community mining schemes and facilitate the acquisition of mining equipment to help them scale up their activities. You remember the government bought the gold catcher. They say they will do more per this document. It says, we shall introduce vocational and skills training on sustainable mining for small-scale miners in the curriculum of TVET institutions. Now, when this government came into power, they trained thousands of small-scale miners at the University of Mines and Technology. What this is trying to do, this one is saying that we will include it in the TVET institution. We'll ask them, what's the reason for that? We'll speak to them and find out why. Again, quote, we shall establish a pension scheme for small-scale miners like we have done for cocoa farmers. Oh, really? Okay. We will set up state-of-the-art common user gold processing units in mining districts in collaboration with the private sector. What happened to the gold refinery promise that this party said they would do when they gain power? Would ask them all of that. It says we will encourage the exploration of Ghana's mineral resources with graduates from Ghana's training institutions actively involved in this endeavor. Okay. Now, again, they say when discovered, we will raise the necessary capital to facilitate its exploration and ensure 100% Ghanaian ownership. Oh, like we're calling for the lithium mines. Okay. Now, to ensure 100% Ghanaian ownership of newly discovered resources and greater Ghanaian ownership of our resources, we will establish, in collaboration with the private sector, a minerals development bank to support the mining industry. Oh, okay. Well, so those are the things that the Bawumia team is promising to do if they are able to break the 8. So how different will this be from past attempt? We've been joined on Zoom by the Director of Communications for the Bawumia 2024 campaign, Miracles Abuaje. Miracles, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Now, these aren't new. Why does your team think anything will change when I mean, these are implemented when these aren't really new?
Well, I think that we've also been trying so many other things that are not new anyway. You would recall that over the period, we've had several strategies in dealing with, especially the Galamsey menace. Some of them we've had to repeat severally across regimes. Others too, we've had to fine-tune and retweak to ensure that we get to where we are going to look at. But if you look at all the things we've done over the period, I mean, since 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15 up to date, I think that some of the things we haven't really done are some of these new things that Dr. Bawumia is speaking of. So you may have seen them being mentioned, but you agree that they had not really been implemented in a way that we would want to measure its effectiveness. And so what Dr. Bawumia is asking for is, can we try these ones as well? These ones that have been on the drawing board, some of which have been on the drawing board for a while, can we try them as well? The mining areas, what we are really fighting is not small-scale mining. What we are fighting is illegal mining, what we call galamsey. And fundamentally, we're fighting that because of its effect, hazardous effect on especially our river bodies and also our forest areas. And the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, is basically saying that we should probably have another look at the approach and try these other things that we haven't as of yet tried them. For example, shall we begin to have conversations with the big mining firms so we can have access to some of the abandoned shafts, and then we can let our people go and mine there instead of going to the river bodies and in the forest areas? Shall we begin to look at providing some funding support for these passionate miners so they can be well tooled to mine in these abandoned shafts that would engage the big firms so they can use, so that they are not enticed by it, for them in their view, the low-hanging fruit in going to the river bodies and going deep into our reserved forest and mining there? Shall we begin to deliberately look at providing some support for exploration so that our people don't have to let go a lot of these concessions that they get to foreign partners? As you may be aware, a lot of times our people will have a concession themselves, but because they cannot afford the cost of exploration, you would usually have them cede major percentage of their own concessions to foreign partners. Shall we begin to take another look at that? In all of these things, it's obvious that for people in these mining areas, that is their vocation. For a lot of them, that is what they are used to and accustomed to. And so Dr. Bawumia is saying that we would review the curriculum for our technical vocational education institutions so that we embed in it training for safe and appropriate mining. So that right from the senior second cycle level, we can have a lot of these people understanding and learning some of these things. It's also made a very important point.
Well, Miracle, before you continue, on that TVET training, when your government came into power, I'm aware you trained thousands of people at UMAT. I mean, how successful was that we think that, putting it into TVET will probably be the game changer?
Was very successful. That is why you see a lot of these community mining schemes that are coming up strongly in our areas. So there is community mining scheme running in a lot of the districts, and a lot of these guys who are working there are beneficiaries of this training. So it was very useful, and that is why we are also of the view that instead of making it a crash course or a crash program at UMAT like we did, we should rather embed it into the curriculum and make it part of technical and vocational education training. But it was very successful. A lot of the community mining schemes have beneficiaries of this training there, and they're actually making use of the training.
How many people exactly did we train, and how many can we find in this community mining schemes?
I would not be able to. I thought you would mention it since you recorded immediately. But the community mining scheme is part of the arrangement in making sure that some of these guys who work there went through this training. But you would be able to. I can always pull up that information and let you have it.
Anyway, But let me bring in a mining consultant here. He is actually the PRO for the Ghana Small Scale Miners Association, Abdul Razak. He is joining me. Abdul, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. First off, I'm sure you've heard the plans by the flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Bawumia, to sanitize the illegal small-scale mining that people do in this country. How feasible are these? You are already in the sector, so tell us, how feasible are these plans?
Thank you very much for having me. I think what the flag bearer and the vice president is promising us, we being sector or industry players, some of these issues are not new. They are already in the system. But decentralizing them and then making sure that the sector players get access to this land and make sure that illegalities will reduce to the barest minimum, I think it's a welcoming news. But the only caution some of us as industry players are cautioning is we shouldn't over promise, because there are some issues. We already have a complicated industry already. But when it comes to TVET and then those decentralizing and those type of things, it's a welcoming news. But the angle of chiefs being lances and those things, that is where we need to get a broader consultation and then make sure that people, stakeholders come in to look into it very well, because chiefs are already part of our system. Because you cannot acquire a license, go to the community to mine without meeting the chiefs. There's no way you can do mining without the chiefs. So they are already in the system. But when we talk of land cession process, for them being part, that is where the challenge is. We need to understand that area very well. And then at the same time, when it comes to support for small-scale miners, we have been crying for this for a very long time. And we are now hearing things of this sort. We are hoping that he will be on his west and make sure that when, God willing, when he becomes the president, he will do what he is just saying. And when it comes to reforms and amendments and those things, as we speak, Minerals Commission are doing amendments and they are doing reforms. So if there is anything at all, why not channeling those efforts to them so that they will just do the thing once and for all, and we'll see how best the whole thing will be. So the promises he's making, yes, we agree that he's making those promises, but we should make sure that all the things that Vice President Bawumia is saying will come into fruition. We don't want a situation whereby they will speak, and when it comes to this implementation, it will be a different ballgame altogether. So that is where some of us as industry players are looking at. So all the nice things that he's saying, yes, it will come and help the industry, but we should be very cautious. Implementation in this country, our problem, all laws, everything are there, but the implementation, especially when it comes to land cession, for instance, I don't see anything wrong with the Minerals Commission side, because Minerals Commission have even decentralized, or they use this MCAS system, whereby you can sit at your comfort zone, apply and do things. But the actual problem we are facing is when it gets to the ministry. So if we want to do anything of that, so we should be looking at that area too, because they give the final answer to miners. As we speak, that is where the challenge is. So we should be looking at it at a broader picture.
What kind of challenges at the ministry end?
Right now, when you acquire a license or when you apply the processes, when it gets to the commission does this. It will be sent to the ministry for the minister's approval, especially when it comes to recommendation. He will approve it. It will come back to the Minerals Commission for their final, all the payments, that agreement and what with Stulands you are going to pay. When you are done, it will go back to the ministers again for them to give the final answers. That is where the challenge is, because all the cry that we are crying as we speak, you cannot get the answers which are now in the system. They're just some minute ones, because many of the recommendations and the final answers are staying with the minister, and he's not signing. So if he did not sign, how do you do proper diligence? How do you do proper mining? So that is the challenge. So we should be looking at all those things. If we are putting reforms, it shouldn't be based on only Minerals Commission, but it should also be the political leaders who are handling those things. They should also act, and they will know that they want to fight the illegalities of them. Because if you don't sign licenses, and Ghanaians are sitting down there very hungry, and they want places to work responsibly, and they are not getting it, it will push them to illegality.
Okay.
So we need to look at all these things.
Let me come back to Miracles. I'm sure you've listened to Abdul Al-Hassan there about the challenges with the getting the license signed by the ministry. They think that is what pushes some people to go into the illegality, about the delays in getting their licenses signed. How does Dr. Bawumia intend to deal with that as well, as you try to fight illegal mining?
I don't think if that is an issue with all the approach and strategies that the acknowledges are very important to the sector, with all these approaches we want to introduce. I don't think a minister's delay of signing a license should be the most difficult thing to deal with. I don't think so. Dr. Bawumia is committed in ensuring that we're able to deal with this matter and deal with this decisively moving forward, albeit we are always going to encounter challenges because it is an illegality and people always find ways and means to go around illegalities. I don't think that a minister's delay in signing a document should be the most difficult thing to deal with, and it should be something that we should be bothered with, considering all the efforts that Dr. Bawumia has outlined he intends to put into that space. I think it's the lowest of fruits that can be plugged.
Anyway, but I mean, there are issues that this government in particular started fighting. You've used military men to go there to deal with it, fighting the river guy, or did not work. I mean, if you say people should not mine in river bodies, if you do, you will ban. That is the only time that you will ban. What actually is the plan to deal with mining in the river bodies? What actually is that plan?
If Dr. Bawumia stated it when he met the young people in Takwa, the people want to mine. There will be punitive actions if you mine in the river bodies. This time round, he says, we are providing alternative sites for you to go and mine. And so if you provide the alternative sites for them to go and mine, that should be a starting point. That should be a motivating factor to prevent somebody from mining the river body. But don't forget, this is an illegality. It's a crime. And just as we keep fighting armed robbery, and yet we continue to have armed robbery even all over the world, the most advanced countries, we're always going to have one or two people who may want to commit this crime. But as much as possible, shall we focus on getting some of these alternative arrangements done so that it reduces the attractiveness of this illegality for the people? I think that is the key thing here. For somebody hiding and trying to engage in illegality, I don't think that you can sit here and say, I will be able to nip it in the bud once and for all. You definitely will have one or two people, but at least it shouldn't be on the scale that we are seeing now on the screen, because this new arrangement is one that is providing alternatives for the people to mine. And it's been quite emphatic. And I like what the PRO said. He said, the most important thing is for us to see through the implementation of some of these ideas. And we cannot continuously be pessimistic as a people. We should believe that it is possible, it will be done, and it can be done. Now, moving forward, we engage these large-scale mining firms, acquire this abandoned shaft, and move all these young people to this abandoned shaft for them to engage. Already, if you talk to PRO, he would tell you that in most of these communities where we've started the district community mining schemes, we've seen some progress. We've seen some progress in terms of the number of young people who have moved from the river bodies and are engaging in this legitimate district mining, community mining schemes. But there's a lot more work to be done. You need to do a lot more to create such alternatives for these young people or for these citizens, so that becomes the enticing point for them to not go to the river bodies. In that case, when you go to the river body and I meet you there, I know that you are bent on committing a crime. And so when I'm burning your excavators and your champans, I know I have a legitimate cause and an easy cause to get it done, because I have given you several alternatives for you to use as an option in this endeavor.
Miracles, I'm grateful to you for joining us. Miracles Aboagye is Dennis Miracles Aboagye is the communications director of the Bawumia 2024 campaign. We're also joined by Al Hassan Abdul Razak. He speaks for the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana.